So I'm very glad to see Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, have a definitive answer on something that may be very controversial in much of the Canadian media, certainly the corporate media, but still isn't particularly controversial with the public at large. But because of the media, it's the kind of thing that politicians are tempted to try and avoid, just to avoid all of the pearl clutching on the nightly news. And let's see what he had to say here.
My question, sir, is should you form the next federal government, will you make female safe spaces safe again by introducing legislation that bans so-called transgender women from participating in female sports and getting access into female shelters and female prisons?
Female spaces should be exclusively for females, not for biological males. You asked if I introduced legislation on that. A lot of the spaces you described are provincially and municipally controlled. So it is unclear what federal legislation would reach federal legislation would have to change them. But obviously, female sports, female change rooms, female bathrooms should be for females, not for biological males.
Of course, Trudeau had to get in on the far-left virtue signaling immediately.
Pierre Poilievre specifically said that children born biologically male should be banned from female washrooms, changing rooms, sports. Do you think your government has done enough to protect trans rights?
And this is why many Canadians hate large swaths of the Canadian media, because this reporter completely disregards the very reasonable concerns that Canadian women have and jumps right to, well, it must be transphobia, which is, of course, just serving it up on a platter for the prime virtue signaler of Canada.
I think Mr. Poilievre and politicians like him are choosing to attack some of the most vulnerable people in our society.
You know, it's funny. He used to say the exact same thing about actual women,
as a way of deflecting from the fact that they're very good at creating division and anger.
Division and anger? Well, what kind of monster would do that?
The small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing.
If you don't want to get vaccinated, that's your choice. But don't think you can get on a plane or a train besides vaccinated people and put them at risk.
Jeez, what's up with this guy? He must have watched a Mussolini documentary and liked it. Or maybe he was just looking through the family photo album. Who knows? Now, of course, nobody cares how adults want to present themselves. But that said, there must be reasonable accommodation just to reality. And many women are just uncomfortable, and they may be uncomfortable for very good reasons, but uncomfortable with having biological men in their spaces, including change rooms, bathrooms, or shelters for that matter. And this is one of those places where woke comes up against reality, and reality just has a better argument. Of course, this wasn't going to go over well with Jagmeet Singh, the leader of the federal Communist Party. New Democrat Party of Canada.
Hi, Mr. Singh. I was hoping to get your reaction to Pierre Poilievre's comments today about, female spaces should be exclusively reserved for females, not biological males. He was asked about transgender people in sport, in change rooms and bathrooms. What do you make of those remarks?
And here I just have to issue a quick trigger warning. The following content may be offensive to the mentally abled.
So the context of the question, I understand, is about the safety of women. Well, clearly Pierre Poilievre doesn't care about the safety of women because he hasn't spoken to what women have talked about when it comes to their safety. What is clear in our country, the threat of violence to women comes from men in our country. Violence against women is perpetrated by vast majority by men against women.
Okay, so obviously Jagmeet doesn't understand what men or women are, and that's no surprise. Or at least it's no surprise that he's pretending to not know. And of course, what the NDP are doing are trying to compete with the Liberal Party of Canada to see who can take the crown as the biggest left-wing lunatics in Canada. And the downside of it for them is that the true winner of that competition are the Conservatives, who are way in the lead, and that lead is only growing. Anyway, please like, share, and subscribe. Sharing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I will see you next time.